So I just wanted to show you guys a little bit what creative coaching art can look like. I think sometimes people confuse the terms or they have no clue whatsoever what I'm talking about. So this is what I mean when I say that the art of creative practice and creative coaching is a little bit different to the usual production kind of art that is all about beauty and form and shape and all these beautiful art terms. When we talk about therapeutic art, it is far more focusing on the process and what comes up for the artist as they participate in the process while focusing on a particular symbol. Like in this case, we used the owl as our symbol, and we sort of explored all of the animal characteristics and sort of nature of the animal to derive wisdom from it as a symbol. And when we come to the canvas and we use it as a metaphor for our life, while focusing on the shape and the essence of the owl and bringing it to life on the canvas, there's a childlike sort of innocence to this art that is really beautiful to behold, because although it's beautiful, it's not your typical art approach. There is definitely a process involved here that is adding to the beauty of the art, and you can begin to appreciate the layers and the process in this art. But the person that painted this went through a whole journey, went through a whole experience, and discovered something about themselves, maybe some of the hidden aspects of their personality that they weren't aware of. And by engaging in this process, they were becoming aware of some of the hidden aspects, and the owl wisdom could then help them to overcome that limiting belief, that barrier to living the life of their dreams. This was one of my Buddha painting classes that I did. This was my canvas that I worked on while teaching this class, and it really was all about the process and bringing in sort of darker shapes to sort of bring a face out of this beautiful composition of color. And all we did here was washes of color splattering. We did mantras, we did personal affirmations, we did focus on equanimity in this particular exercise, and I showed the participants how to bring a face forward even though it looks like a mask. Very two-dimensional, very basic, very beginner friendly, but the participants learned something about themselves. It was sort of a mindful exercise, very meditative, and a beautiful journey to reflect while painting. This was one of my more advanced classes that I did recently. I think it was last year. We did the unicorn, and again, you can see there's a childlike innocence to this art simply because of the style in which we engage. This therapeutic art process really is all about freedom layers, expressing yourself, playing with paint before trying to sort of bring in a little bit of shape and then to form the final image. So I'm just gonna flip here and show you guys. Sometimes we just allow the participant to play and see what comes forward. This particular canvas, I think if you look carefully in the background, you can see some handwriting there. There's some collage elements on here, and just mark making. And layer upon layer, this individual was able to just process some of their emotions and assigning specific meaning to color for them. And it was also focused on, I think the prompt was all about growth and abundance. So whatever around them could identify those words and energetic feeling of abundance and prosperity and growth. And they brought this plant-like shapes forward, and it was just lovely to guide them through their process. Here is another one that we did, No Mud, No Lotus. I think this was from the very original No Mud, No Lotus class. And you can see here on the freedom layer there are writing and Om symbols and just beautiful brush marks. And that's what the individual started their canvas with mantra, with intention, with positive affirmations, with goal setting, and literally writing it on the canvas with their paint, and one layer at a time, as each layer sort of represents something in my therapeutic process. It brings awareness into the participant's life, and layer by layer they begin to understand that their personal goals and aspirations can be broken down in a similar way, and any resistance to personal growth or working on your goals is really anchored in some kind of limiting belief or idea that is holding you back. Sometimes it's the traumas and pains of life that is preventing you from trusting the process and beginning to dig in a little bit deeper. In fact, this class's title was No Mud, No Lotus. So we even created mud on the canvas for this exercise, because we explored the idea that from the difficulty and challenges of our lives, we can grow and become stronger and more resilient going forward. So you can see there's a lot of meaning in the canvases. There is a lot of depth to the process and how that helped the individual to reflect on their own attitude and how they will process new challenges and difficulties, but at the same time having fun and playing and learning some painting techniques. So I'm just going to run through some of them. This was the first Dragonfly class that I did, quite beautiful and just interesting to see how interesting processes can bring forth a beautiful and interesting painting. This is my No Mud, No Lotus canvas. Just wanting to show you guys some variety. We did the flamingo. This was last year sometime. I can't remember exactly when, but interesting painting that we did with the flamingo, and I also had the lion's gate. Oh, this was in August, and I also had the lion as a theme, and there was also some bee honeycombs in the background to symbolize a beautiful community. Let me go. Here's the next one. Here we did a hamsa. A hamsa is a symbol of protection or of divine blessing, depending on its orientation. But you can see all the layers that I went through in this class, and this entire canvas was filled with all of these interesting brush marks before we started to pull in the design, as each of these layers represented something in the class. Here we did a phoenix as a symbol, and learning all about rising from the ashes of your life, and just looking at things that were hurtful and disappointing, and maybe an area of your life went up in flames. Maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was employment, maybe it was a friendship, and to explore your own resilience and personal growth with the phoenix as your guide at the canvas was quite potent. This was another one of the participants in the class, and that's how they interpreted that beautiful symbol of the phoenix. Here is one of the participants who painted the hummingbird with me, and just enjoyed the process and the layers and finding clarity through this exercise. This was painting cherry blossoms. Cherry blossoms are a powerful symbol of resilience, as they are the first to bloom at the end of a winter season and can withstand these extreme temperatures. So again, you can see how the symbolism of a simple flower like that, as it relates to your life and the challenges and difficulties that we face as humans. So it's a very stoic process. Here is another interpretation of exactly the same class, and this person just played with their palette knife instead of with brushes. Here is another one, the chameleon. That was one of my classes as well. A lot of fun. This symbol was all about adaptability and resilience. and that was quite an amazing process. Here we have another unicorn painting class that we did. You can see the process in the background versus the negative painting that brings the unicorn to life. But just understanding that our life is a unicorn because it's a unique opportunity for each of you to be in a physical form, to be able to experience life and to see life in all of its beautiful colors. So just exploring personal resilience and to trust yourself, to aim your horn forward with faith and with pride, and to just shine your light. Here we painted the tiger, and again, just finding your resilience within the symbol and seeing how the tiger survives in his environment, what makes it an interesting animal, its camouflage, its nature, and how that relates to our life. To sometimes be a little bit stronger, blend with your environment, stand out, and take pride in yourself. Here we did a peacock class, and this was actually quite a fun process class because there was so much colors involved and just playing with these dots, and these dots represents eyes that look inward at you. And I think we did a lot of shadow work with the peacock and just observing how our ego, nature, and personality wants to get all the attention, but it's when we are aware of ourselves by looking inwards that we can see our true nature and discover our higher or true self, and to live an authentic, colorful life. And here is also like the bee as a symbol, and discovering the hive and the blessings of interacting with a bee, and learned so much about bees in general through this class and how that metaphorically can relate to our lives. So you can see with each of these classes there is a definite creative art project or process that forms part of the background, but there's definite skill that is also developing in the artist. Compared this to the very first painting we saw, you can see the progress, because with all the brush miles that you get through a creative practice, you become better at painting in general, and then this beautiful painting made easy method really can become a field of possibility for any artist really. If you're a beginner or whether you are an experienced artist, it will reflect in your work. But remember, I always say to my clients, this method of painting or this work that you do at the canvas is less about the end product. It's definitely all about the process. And then in the end, this can become an amulet for you in your office or in your studio, somewhere in your home, where you can remind yourself every time you look at your painting that when you started this process, you probably thought, I will never be able to paint this. And by the end of the process, you realize, look what I actually did by just believing in myself and doing it one brush mark at a time. And the whole symbolism and all the information that you gathered about yourself and the symbol during the process then becomes a sort of marker in your brain. So every time you see it, you remind yourself, I'm as lucky as a bee, and I'm part of a hive, I'm part of a tribe, and I have a purpose and a role to play. So that is beautiful. I hope that's helpful. I just wanted to share with you guys what creative art really can look like during creative coaching. You had a good example of a variety of symbols that I work with. So I hope this gives you a little bit of insight as to how we work as coaches using creatively fit coaching methods. So I'll see you guys in the next clip.